Welcome to the BAM and Beyond podcast. If you're new here, this is the podcast where you learn more about BAM, the team, and everything happening within British, Asian media and beyond.
We are a team of British, East and Southeast Asian creatives who believe in the power of representation and sharing collective experiences to inspire and empower others. Our goal is to entertain, uplift and bring together the British Asian community, as well as to bridge the gap with the rest of the world.
My name is Simon.
I am Nicole.
And today we have a very, very special guest who is actually the designer of our current BAM 2.0 logo and animation that if you're watching us on YouTube, you would have seen at the start of the video. And I'm very, very excited to introduce Steph Fung.
Hi guys. Welcome.
Welcome,
Hi guys,
welcome.
I'm Steph. Great to have you. Great to be here.
oh, she's hosting now. She's up.
I'm so used to
She's
hosting
ready.
talks. But thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for finding the time to join us, because I know you're kind of busy these days. Like I've seen you on Twitter, girl.
She's everywhere.
She is. And for our listeners, could you please give a little introduction to who you are and what you do, please?
Yeah, sure. So, hi guys, I'm Steffi. I'm a 3D artist and I do a lot of things. I say I'm a 3D artist, but on the side, I also do a lot of content creation as well. I like to share my process and I'm very passionate about also educating people, especially the younger generation, to come into my field, because currently there's a lack of people of color and female 3D artists. So I'm just here trying to share what I can do so I can hopefully inspire the younger generation to do what I do.
Love that.
I love that so much. I think we definitely all align in terms of wanting to inspire and I guess give people the right knowledge and tools to do what we do, right? But definitely. Do you want to I guess one thing that I really want to ask you as well is your journey into 3D design in general, what got you into it?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. I actually studied graphic design at university and didn't know I was going to be doing what I'm doing today. So I studied graphic design, found that I was kind of bored of seeing static posters and typography just being slapped on an editorial, like a publication or a book. It wasn't really my thing. And then during my course at university, I also learned how to do video editing, which actually sparked my interest in learning After Effects and learning, they called it kinetic typography at the time, it was meant to be ultra cool, but basically it was animating type. So I was like, you know what, I do graphic design. If I can make it animate, how exciting is that? So I was way more excited seeing the text move rather than it being static. And I think a lot of that stems from when I was a kid. I used to watch a lot of animation. I used to watch a lot of Disney, Ghibli, a lot of anime. So, I always loved the storytelling aspect of it. And then once I learned how to use After Effects, I went down a YouTube rabbit hole of watching 3D videos. So at the time, there was just a handful of guys on YouTube just showing their process. And they were just showing it and it was free. It was on YouTube and I thought it looks really cool. And I thought, you know what, I want to copy them. I'm going to learn it. And that's how it happened. I just kind of practiced every single week, copying their tutorials, learning from them. And then slowly I became more confident and I'm able to work in 3D now and create these amazing animations, which they don't exist in the real world, but they exist in the digital world.
That is so cool. I love that you just somehow went from, the regular graphic designing into this whole 3D thing, and you taught yourself that with the help of YouTube, free resources.
Oh,
and I think a lot of, yeah, seriously, because I think, I also learned video editing thanks to YouTube, as well as some graphic designing. I'm not nowhere near as good as you are in terms of design work. But yeah, YouTube is the way to go. And I feel like quite a lot of people still don't know that you can just simply go Google, questions about your learning process and there are just free resources there to look at.
I think that's why I'm so passionate about sharing my own work on the internet right now, because that's exactly how I learned 3D myself. It's just from a bunch of random guys who posted their videos on YouTube, and I'm like, you know, if they could do that, I can do that too.
And you do it way better.
You're too kind.
Because you talked about like starting as a studying graphics design. How much of what you learned from uni do you still kind of hold on to with what you're doing now? Like, is there...
I love this question so much. Okay, I am very biased towards online learning and free resources. Very biased, only because in my opinion, university is great for some aspects, but in terms of my technical skills and what I've used to do now, I've learned it all from the internet. I would say maybe perhaps like the graphic design base and how to think, because in university they don't really teach you how to use the technical programs, and they will tell you, oh, you can learn it yourself. Like I remember I only had maybe one lesson on Photoshop, one lesson on Illustrator and InDesign and After Effects, and they were like, okay, you guys are good, you guys got the base, you guys can go and learn the rest yourself. So I think that's one thing that university has taught me, is that you have to be proactive. Nobody's gonna baby spoon you the knowledge. But in terms of the technical skills that I know now, I'm just like, university didn't teach me that. The good thing about university is the connections that you make. Like I really admire, and that my classmates and all the facilities that they have is great. But yeah, you guys, if you guys want to learn 3D, just go onto YouTube.
Just follow Steph. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, it's so interesting to hear that, because I do think, like, especially as creators ourselves, a lot of what we do now is self-taught, and it just goes to show how, I guess, outdated like universities are with their teaching style, as well as just education in general. So I would say that personally, I think that university is more about life experiences. Like that's what they teach you.
I think one thing I really appreciate from university is that I was at university for 5 years. So that's like half a decade. That's a pretty long time, right? So one thing that I'm really thankful for is that I had a sandwich year where they helped with the contacts and like getting into industry, and that's what they're good for example. So without that, I don't think I'd be where I am today, because a lot of my friends who graduated without working in industry or getting an internship or apprenticeship, they kind of struggled when they graduated. They found it harder to find jobs because they didn't have that industry experience.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely the aspect that's what university does offer in terms of the networks and those connections, and in a sense, as you said, Nicole, kind of preparing you to an extent, of course.
Placement years on like any opportunities to study abroad, I think everyone should try and seek for that when they're looking to apply for university, and really just grab it and commit to it. Because I also agree, I think quite a few people who didn't do a placement year or study abroad, they did lack a lot of opportunities. But I guess everyone just wants different things, and maybe they weren't comfortable enough to step out of their comfort zone. Agree.
Wait, so how much was your tuition? What?
Oh, so my first year was foundation. That was free actually at the time, until they scrapped that because the government decided to. Yeah, the government doesn't really care about the art industry, basically.
They really don't.
Yeah, I know. Even though design industry brings in so much money for this country, but that's another thing. But foundation was free. I really liked that. I was actually either going to study graphic design following that year, or economics or marketing. So that year was a make or break point for me. Like, do I go full Asian and my sister, she studied biomed, and do I go for that route and go, stereotypical Asian route, or do I go for, of course, the more creative route, which is not typically, it's not what a lot of Asian people do. So I guess I'm quite fortunate because I think my mum saw that I really enjoyed art in general. You know, growing up, I've been always drawing, painting, making sculptures. So she knew I had a passion at school. So that's why she gave me a year to like kind of figure out if I really enjoyed graphic design in this foundation course. So that was free. And then the rest, I'm quite lucky because I lived at home. So I don't have the expenses of like living in halls and renting and, you know, all that business. So I guess it was like 9,000 a year.
Yeah, it's the same
uni
as me.
fees. Yeah.
So guys, listeners, if you are in uni and you are paying that tuition fee, especially during the current panna cotta that we're going through, make sure you utilize all of your resources that you can.
Yeah, like milk them. Like, don't even hesitate. Go and talk to all of your tutors, like professors,
because they are there for you. Like, I think kind of forget that, right? Like, it's.
I think they even pay more than 9K now.
Yeah, they pay more. It's gone up. Yeah. It's gone up again.
Yeah, which is crazy because for my older brother, who's 5 years older than me, he was paying 3K per year at that time. And then all of a sudden it just jumped to 9K. And
my cousin, he paid 1,000 a year. My oldest cousin, I'm like, damn it. You're so lucky.
Yeah, and now we're really realizing like university isn't necessarily, you know, the only option you have after school.
Exactly.
So in terms, so with your journey, so after you graduated, what happened after?
Yeah, I guess for me, I was job searching, right? And because I had previous experiences, so when I graduated, I already had 3 internships on my like CV, which is pretty good within that year. So I remember in that internship year, I tried 3 different companies. One was like a corporate branding company, which at the time they didn't really know what to do with me. And they were nice, but they didn't know what to do with me at the time. And then the second one was like a title sequence company, and they make title sequences for like Netflix and BBC and Channel 4, and they're quite a small company, but what I really admired about them is the creative freedom they gave all of us. I felt like I was part of the team rather than just the intern. And then the third one was my absolute favorite. I was at a VFX animation studio. It was full 3D animation, and they trusted me with like doing the pictures and stuff, and like I got to contribute. And that was my favorite one because I found out from that internship that that's exactly what I wanted to do. So then when I graduated, I'm like, okay, I want to work for like motion design, and it's gotta have to include a bit of 3D. So when I was searching, I was quite fortunate because this was pre-COVID, right? We had a degree show physically where people could actually meet each other.
Those times.
Yeah. So I think my year was the last year where they had a physical degree show. So I was just really glad that I was able to showcase all my projects, my final year projects. And they invite industry people to the degree show. And I got to meet my future employer, my current employer from there. So it was from those contacts actually. And so now I got that job offer from Selfridges, and I took it straight away because they do really creative projects, and like I really like the brand. So I was like, it didn't take me that long. I think I graduated July, and then I got the job by September. So that was only like 2 to 3 months. So that was pretty quick in terms of like being a graduate.
And it's a well-known brand as well. Like global. Not a lot of recent grads are able to secure a job as good as, you know, this one.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to go for it. It's my first proper job out of university. So yeah.
But
then,
if you follow Steph on social media, this is how I found out. She's quitting her day job to become a full-time freelancing designer.
Yes.
Kudos to you. Like, not everyone is, you know, capable of doing that. So how's the process been?
It's been something I've been thinking about for a while, only because, you know, I've been at Selfridges for roughly nearly 2 years now, but whilst that doing my full-time job, I've been doing content creation. I've been sharing my process of my 3D work. I do a lot of personal work outside my office hours, and people do call me a workaholic, and I do admit that. But it's because I'm so, like, when I make my 3D art and personal work, I'm so happy to create them that it doesn't feel like work to me. And also, I guess for me, if I'm not creating, then I don't feel, it's this kind of cycle, I don't feel productive, which is kind of good and bad at the same time.
We feel you.
My chest was like, ooh.
But also, I've always wanted to become a freelancer, but after graduation, I wasn't confident. You know, you got bills to pay, right? You're actually a proper adult, and you can't, like, I've got a friend and she went freelancer straight away, and I was like, how do you do that? Like, you know, because with freelancing, you have to find the clients. You might not get paid every single month, and I'm like, you know, I can't rely on that. So during my time with my full-time job, I made sure that I was posting personal work and also building up a clients list so that more people can see my work, and I could have a better idea that I'm actually going to survive if I become a freelancer. So it's only now that I feel pretty confident that I should be okay. I should be okay.
You had a celebrity retweet one of your amazing works. Who was that again?
Yeah, please remind us, because I remember retweeting that too, but...
So Paris Hilton retweeted one of my works, and like freaking insane, because she has been very active in like the NFT community, and that's another community I'm part of. And I've also had the chance to talk to her on Clubhouse, like, yeah, voice to voice. So the fact that she acknowledged my work, I was like, it's the Paris Hilton. Like,
the one and only.
Yeah, like she's iconic. And yeah, so I'm like, yeah, just thinking about that is really insane.
I'm just
so
like,
incredible.
Steph and big brands just a handshake.
Yeah.
Like,
love to see it.
Insert the meme now.
Yep, totally memeing that. And as you just mentioned, which is the next one of the topics we want to discuss, NFTs. So I am aware that you are part of that community, and from what I've seen mainly on Twitter, because I think that's my perception of it. Very supportive, and that's how but it's still so like, it's still in its like infant or like embryo stages, right? And I know me and Nicole before the recording, we were like, we really have no idea what NFTs.
Yeah.
Like
we think we have an idea, but probably have no idea.
Yeah. So could you explain to us as well as the listeners?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So the NFT stands for non-fungible token. So it exploded during 2020, actually. I would say maybe like January last year, it exploded pretty much. And the NFT community is mostly based on Twitter, actually, which is where you see me most, actually. I'm on there pretty much every day. But yeah, it's a way for people to put up their digital asset, whether that's like an image, a video, augmented reality, if it's like an interactive piece coded by Java, WebGL, they can upload that and they mint it onto the blockchain. There's different types of blockchains, like Ethereum blockchain, there's Tezos blockchain, all these different cryptocurrencies, right? So the most popular one for digital artists right now is Ethereum. And they upload it to this Ethereum blockchain, and basically somebody can buy it. And once they buy it, they give you cryptocurrency in exchange. So your digital asset, actually, it turns into a token. And that token is almost your receipt for that piece, which is why it's called non-fungible tokens. But yes, it's exciting. And the reason why it's blown up so much is because, you know, for people like me who work in commercial, who work commercially, we usually rely on clients for our income. So we usually have to go to, I don't know, a brand. Let's say one day, if it's Nike, please.
Manifesting.
Hear me. So like you usually have to go to these clients and complete a brief with them. You have to make an advert, make some branding, make a nice piece of graphic design or photography and send it to them, and they give you money back, right? So that's how we usually make a living. So we're really relying on clients. NFT has given digital artists a place to not be reliant on clients and actually sell work that they love in exchange for money straight away. So it's very transparent. Everything is on the blockchain and you can see every single transaction. There's no middleman. It's just almost like eBay, but for digital people. So you upload your digital asset and you get a digital currency in exchange. And that digital currency, you can cash it out into real world money if you want to, or you can just keep it and like pray that it'll become like Bitcoin and go up. But that is the reason, like a lot of digital artists feel like they get more control over their own art. They're able to actually make a living making their own art, which is it's beautiful, which is why everyone's so supportive, because we want everyone to succeed in this field.
Wow, that's very interesting to know about. And I love that, you know, you are able to just make what you want instead of having to deal with clients who can sometimes be pretty annoying and nitpicky. And you end up saving so much more time as well. It's so direct.
It is. But it's almost like, I said eBay earlier, but it's also like Etsy. You really have to, what I've noticed that you really have to build up your presence, your brand, your trust. That's why people are so active in the NFT community on Twitter, because you need to get your name out there in order for people to see your work and to know who you are in order to buy a piece. So it's, you know, we get a lot of people who are amazing artists or designers, but they're not very good at marketing, or like their social presence is not that great. And then they think that it's not working, but all they need to really work on is like actually just being part of the community to get that kind of exposure from collectors.
So my understanding was, so because it's crypto, so the buyer will buy that NFT piece with crypto, and then they like quote unquote own it. And that, I guess that's one of the aspects of NFTs that people the collector's aspect, right? Of people quote unquote owning that digital asset, correct?
Yes, exactly. It's basically, you know, because at the beginning I was really skeptical of NFTs, like right at the beginning of 2019. I was like, you know, you can just like take a screenshot, like everything digital, you can just take a screenshot. Why would people pay for it? And I didn't really understand it at first. I was very like against it. And then as soon as I started to understand that it's, you know, how to say, like there's a market for everyone. And this market is for people who like to collect things and if they want to support an artist. So, you know how you guys used to collect Pokemons, like Pokemon cards, all that stuff, like those don't really have any value unless you actually care for it, right? It was the collecting part that was really addictive and fun, right? So, you know, there is a market for this, and that, like, if you guys think NFTs are like a faff and you can take a screenshot, do that, but you don't technically own the piece. It's the collectors who pay for it. They own that token. They own that piece.
Then I have a question. What if someone's so interested in your art, but they want it to be a little bit more personalized or customized? Like, is that possible?
Yeah, I've had
they just have to reach out to you or something.
Exactly, which is great, because then you're actually building a relationship with the artist and the collector, and then actually building that relationship to make something custom.
Ooh. So I have a question too. Have you yourself bought any NFTs?
Yeah. I've sold some and I've bought some as well. So for one, like, I wasn't expecting that I'd be selling my pieces for at least hundreds of dollars or even sometimes $1,000. It's crazy. Whoa. Right? So now that I've earned some cryptocurrency, I haven't cashed anything out yet. I'm kind of just letting it sit. But now that I've earned some digital currency, I've also given back to the community and collected from artists that I like as well. So it's almost like a give and take That's why the community is like so supportive, because everyone's kind of helping each other out.
I love that. I think I remember like when I sort of was first aware of it was when I think I started to see like with their NBA how they were selling like sort of highlight clips of players and stuff as NFTs. And I was like, oh. And then I remember like Kings of Leon released an album as an NFT. And I was like,
oh, really?
Yeah. So I guess that's how you know, like it's like NFTs becoming a lot more recognized by, what can we say, like, quote unquote mainstream media,
it's becoming more mainstream for sure.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that, Nicole, if we sell like a film as an NFT? But then that means they own it.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe
Don't know how that would work.
Maybe one day we'll see. Yeah. And in terms of like crypto, how do you feel about crypto as a whole?
I love it. I wouldn't invest so much time if I didn't enjoy it. I do think cryptocurrency is really good because of how decentralized it is, and how, you know, real world money is very influenced like by politics and society and corruption and all that. So, you know, at the same time, I do want to say for the viewers or to the listeners, like cryptocurrency is very volatile. So don't put all your money in there. You got to be smart about it. Like whenever you're investing in something, you don't want to put 100% of your money in there just in case. But I do see potential in cryptocurrency, which is why it's growing a lot right now.
I think the only thing I'll say about crypto that I'm not a fan of is the GPU shortage with the miners. But besides that, it's going to be interesting to see how, I guess, the world moves forward with that, especially like, because when you say something that's decentralized, then it's always gonna be like, well, how can governments control it? That's another topic that we'll explore another time.
You can dive really deep into this topic.
Full disclaimer, like, please invest at your own risk and do your research. Only put money that, I remember someone told me like only put money that you're willing to, like, that you're not attached to in a sense. But,
which is hard because everyone's attached to money. It's, you know, the emotional attachment is hard to get rid of, but you always have to save, you know, a percentage for yourself. So don't put everything into like one bucket, let's 100%. Say.
And so you said earlier as well that majority of the NFT community are on Twitter?
Correct, yes.
Oh,
they're on Twitter, and they're all making Discord groups and communities. So you want to be in a Discord group and on Twitter.
And so is the community mixed of like designers as well as collectors, supporters?
Yeah, so the community is full of collectors and artists. That, you know, it's not just artists. There's photographers. There's some questionable things being minted on the blockchain, like memes and like random people eating fruit, like them recording themselves. But there's all sorts of people. There's space for all different types of people and different content. But the area that I like to dive into more in NFT community is probably the 3D side, just because I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah, I want to say I loved the work you did over Lunar New Year. That stuff was amazing.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
And because it was blue, and obviously we all love blue here.
Steph is so on brand with us.
If you guys can't tell my favorite color, what I'm wearing.
Oh yeah, I just noticed your chair. No, I did notice your chair. If you're watching the video, guys, her chair is blue. But wait, sorry, another question, because you've said this word a few times, but if you could just clarify, minted. What does that mean? Because you said things get minted. What's that? How is that part of the process?
It means to upload your piece onto the blockchain.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's all it means. Yes.
Oh, but there is a fee, correct?
There's a gas fee. that you have to contribute to the blockchain to keep it functioning and working.
Oh, okay. All right. So that, again, just part of the system and part of the process. I feel like I've learned so much today.
Hey,
I'm glad.
Also, most podcasts, all of the podcasts that I've been on, this is like the most informative one where I've like just learned so much. That's incredible. Well,
I'm glad.
So I think maybe we have time for like one more question, which is, do you have any tips for people who want to get into the design industry or, 3D?
And, design, 3D, NFT.
Can I plug?
Of course.
Of course.
Okay, guys, I have a Discord community for people who are into 3D, want to learn 3D, want to talk to people who are passionate about 3D. It's called 3D Wizards, and you guys can join in, what's the best place to say? It's on my link tree.
We will post links in the descriptions for you guys.
Awesome. So yeah, if you guys are interested in learning 3D, I've put, basically me and my team, we've put like resources, and if you want to show work and get critique or get feedback on your work, then you can also post your work there. And it's also just a place where you guys can just hang out and just meet other people who are into 3D. So that's a place that I would recommend for one. But also for those who want to learn 3D is hard. I'm not going to lie. It's a different way of thinking. And I think for those who want to learn 3D, I recommend free resources always, of course, with YouTube. Lots of tutorials on there compared to back to 4 years ago, nearly 5 years ago when I started 3D. There's so many more tutorials now on YouTube, which you can get start on. I recommend programs like Blender. Blender is free, it's open source. Nice. I use Cinema 4D, but that's only because it's Cinema 4D is industry standard for motion design. So it's really compatible with After Effects, but Blender is the newcomer and it's free. So you can't beat free. It pretty much does the same thing. And I guess I would recommend that you guys have a small goal of like completing one tutorial a week. Do one so that you don't feel overwhelmed, but it's like achievable. And also I recommend telling a friend or your sister or your mum that you're going to be doing it so that you got someone to hold you accountable. Yeah. You're going to tell them, I'm going to do this tutorial today, and you're going to check on me by next week, something like that. So that every single week you will slowly improve and start to understand how to think in 3D and become more confident with the programs and the terminology.
That's great. And that just kind of reminds me of like, practice is what's going to make it perfect for you, like skills. So we will share the links in our description box. And definitely check it out if you're interested. I mean, even if you're not interested, like you should go and check out Steph's work. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing, Steph. Do you want to also plug your social media platforms?
Sure. I'm on every single one you guys could ever think of. My handle is pretty much the same. It's Steffi Fung, except for on TikTok. Somebody stole my handle.
No.
All of them are the same apart from TikTok, where I have a full stop in the middle of my name. So it's Steffi.Fung, which is, it slightly annoys me, but it's close enough. It's close enough.
And also your Twitch as well.
Oh yes, I guess if you guys are interested in watching me create 3D art or design live, I stream every Thursday. So I'm a streamer as well. So if you guys want to see that process or just come hang out and chat to me, I'm there as well.
Yeah, perfect. What time on Thursday?
Good question. 7 p.m. British time.
Awesome. I had so much fun talking. I feel so enriched with knowledge now of.
Yeah, there's so much that I want to later on like just Google up and just like read into.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm now when I'm like, bam, NFTs. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you're on on the podcast platforms. If you're on Apple Podcast, please leave a review if you enjoyed this or if you enjoyed any previous episodes. Make sure y'all follow us. And if you are watching us on YouTube, thumbs up, drop a comment if you have any questions or anything like that. We will do our best to answer. And if you'd like to support us further, just head to our website, bamandbeyond.com, BAMNBEYOND. We have some new stuff coming there at some point.
Very exciting stuff. Thank you so much for joining us again, Steph.
Yes.
Loved having you.
Thank you so much. I guess the outro music will stop playing. But yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you and speak soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.